Hi everyone, Professor Mankowski here. In this video, we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at question 3 on our worksheet. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the whiteboard again. And we're going to do a similar strategy as we did with the last couple questions. We're going to read through the question, get all the numbers labeled, and then figure out what formula to use. And they're saying, Marty McFly is a marine sales dealer who finds that the average price of a previously owned boat is $6,492. He decides to sell boats that will appeal to the middle 66% of the market. And in terms of price, find the minimum and maximum prices that the boats the dealer will sell. The standard deviation is $1,025. Okay, so I'm going to start to think about what labels to put on these numbers. And when they mention the 6492, they called that the average price. So 642 is going to be my population average mu. It wouldn't be the sample standard, rather it would not be the sample average because there's no sample mentioned in the question. Now my 66% is just really a percent, so I'm going to leave it alone as it is. My 1025 is going to be my population standard deviation because it's quoted with the words standard deviation. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make that my symbol for sigma. And they're asking us something about finding minimum and maximum prices. So that's not a number I can label, but it's something I'm going to tuck under my hat. Now, what formula do I use? If I take a look at the one that's up in the top center here, this one is only good when they mention an area or probability first. And that's actually what they did in the question, because when they talked about 66% probability, they're letting us know that they want us to use this formula. So the only thing that we have to do to make sure we can validate that this formula will work is, since it's derived from this formula over here on the left, and the one on the left only works when our data is normally distributed, we just have to verify that in the question. And since they told us we're normally distributed, we're cleared for takeoff here. So we're going to start to do a normal distribution curve. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to fill out my curve. And I can put in the center my curve average, which was $6,492. This time there's no X values to label. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label that 66%. I'm going to come on in here. I'm going to make a couple of bars right there. I'm going to put in that I need to find what's the middle 66%. And to figure out what end is on the left side, what end's on the right side, it's probably going to end up being the case that when they were talking about the minimum price, the minimum must correspond with what we have over here. So I'm going to say my minimum will be the lowest number on the left side, and my maximum, let's put this in a different color. My maximum right here is going to be whatever X value matches the X value on the high side. Now, the other little clue I have right now that I can use is I know my minimum and my maximums are going to follow the formula I have right here. So I can start to bring my formula into place. I can say X equals Z times sigma plus mu for the left side. For the right side, it's going to be the same. X bar equals, X equals Z times sigma plus mu. Okay, now most of the information I have already given to me. I know a sigma, I know a mu. What's going to slow me down is probably the Z value. So how do I get my Z value? Well, I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to start to pay attention to where they told me the middle area was 66%. So what I have to do is figure out how much area is in the tails if I know that the middle occupies 66%. So the area in both of my tails is going to be equal to 1 minus 66%. And I'm going to put in actually area in both tails. This is going to be 1 minus 0.66. And if I do 1 minus 0.66, I'm going to check my math here, that comes down to 0.34. So in both tails together, I have an area of 0.34. What I need to do, though, is how much area is in each tail. That's what I'm really after. So I need to take this 0.34 and divide it by 2. And I'm going to make a little bit of space here. So I'm going to put up here 0.34 divided by 2, and I get 0.17. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I have 0.17 area right here and also over here. Now what I have to do is I got to figure out what z value corresponds to the 0.17% on each side. So let's make a little space. On my left side, I'm going to get ready to write information about my z-score. I'm going to say z equals, and on the right side, I'm going to do the same thing. Z equals. So what I have to do now is I have to go to my z table, and I have to find what's the z value that's the closest match to an area of 0.17. So I'm going to go ahead and share my z tables now. And if I look at my z chart, the number I have circled, 0.1788, is going to come the closest to 17% area. So it tells me the z value I need for the left side of my curve is minus 0.92. So now I'm going to take that value, minus 0.92, I'm going to start to use that in the formula for the minimum. And what I'm first going to do is I'm going to pencil this on my curve sketch. So right over here, my z value on the left is going to be equal to, we said 0.92, negative 0.92. Now, because the curve is symmetrical, the z score on the right side is going to be exactly the same, but with the opposite side sign. So I'm going to come in and say z is going to be equal to 0.92. Just like so. And now I've got all the information that I need for my formulas. So to do my minimum formula, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to start to fill this out. I'm going to say my minimum is going to be x equals minus 0.92 times my sigma value, which is 1025, and my population average is 6492. And if I do the math on that, I'm going to end up with 5,549. And we'll put the maximum right under this. So I'm going to say this was my minimum value. And down here, I'm going to put in my maximum. And again, the formula is going to be exactly the same. The only difference is going to be my z-score is going to change to a positive 0.92. So we're going to have 0.92 times 1025 plus 6492. And the math on this is going to work out to be 7,435. And that's going to be the answer to my question. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in red my minimum was $5,549, and my maximum cutoff point was $7,435. Okay, now in part B, they asked me a different question here. Part B said, would a boat priced at $8,000 be in McFly's dealership? No computations are necessary, so this is a critical thinking question. Well, $8,000 is way above the maximum. The maximum was $7,435. So our answer to that is going to be no, because the price would be too high. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.